When The Lion King came out in 1994, it took the world by storm. It was a once-in-a-generation movie that captured the audience's hearts and reshaped their understanding of what an animated film could be. From the stunning visuals, passionate soundtrack, and heart-wrenching plot, The Lion King seemed to excel across the board. In short, it was really, really good. So good that, flash forward 25 years, Disney decided to remake it. They kept everything the exact same except for the animation, changing from hand-drawn to a photorealistic CGI. Lo and behold, it flopped. This should not come as a surprise. Everyone had already seen the original Lion King, and there was nothing particularly special about the new one. We could end the conversation there, but I think there's something a lot deeper to talk about. In today's video, I'm going to talk about the one thing, just a single word, that separates the top 1% of movies from the other 99%. That word is purpose. Let's first talk about art. I think my favorite definition of art is a guide to an emotion. Basically, any art from a finger painting to the Mona Lisa will make you feel something. Good art makes you feel something specific, something intended. In the infinitely vast and complex sea of consciousness, we can use art as a means of navigation. Just like using coordinates on a map, the more dimensions we incorporate into art, the more precise that feeling can be. So, across just how many different dimensions can we interpret art? There's the visual dimension, of course, including paintings, photography, fashion, architecture, a lot. There's also the auditory dimension, featuring music, rhythm, and just sound in general. I would also argue for an interpersonal dimension, such as storytelling, acting, dancing, even comedy. Throw all of these dimensions together, and what do you get? Film. Far and away my favorite medium of art. Unlike anything else, a great movie or show can easily take me to that special place where everything just kind of makes sense. Here's the catch though. When a production team is making a movie or a show, they have to include all of these dimensions whether they want to or not. Juggling the cinematography, the musical choices, the acting, the clothes they wear, the color grade, the plot beats, the dialogue, it all seems nearly impossible. That's where purpose comes in. Purpose is the one common denominator across every dimension in a good film. It takes all of these seemingly separate pieces and aligns them to a common goal. The stronger the alignment, the more precise the coordinates are, and the better the feeling. A movie can achieve a lot of things, but one should take precedence over everything else. When we are determining what a movie's purpose is, I think it's best to do it as succinctly as possible. The purpose of The Lion King is to teach kids about the circle of life. What an absurdly challenging task. Hey Timmy, I know you just learned in school today that triangles have 3 sides, but now I'm going to teach you about how you and everyone you love will die. Ridiculous, right? Luckily, we have all of the tools that we just mentioned at our disposal. We can use hand-drawn visuals to appeal to the kids. We can throw in relatable characters and make them maneuver a plot to help the kids follow along. We can throw in comedic relief to make the sensitive subject more digestible for their 4th grade palates. We can make catchy songs to keep them invested. Hell, we can throw in Hans Zimmer's magnum opus to really hammer it all home to little Timmy. As I mentioned earlier, a movie can achieve multiple things, which might make it feel like they have multiple purposes. We could go through The Lion King and isolate different moments that seem to tackle different themes. There are themes of responsibility, as Simba must learn what it takes to be king. There are themes of treason and deception as Scar betrays his family for the throne. There are themes of friendship with Pumbaa and Timon, and themes of love with Nala. There are themes of grief, and of self-identity, and of embracing change. All of these separate themes, however, work in conjunction with one another to achieve the greater purpose of teaching the circle of life. In sum, all these tools need purpose just as much as purpose needs all of these tools. Now I want to ask you about The Lion King 2019. Above all else, what is it that the creators wanted to achieve with this movie? The purpose was to make money. Without a shred of a doubt, that is why this movie exists. Highly evident by the fact that they changed nothing but the animation. They wanted to make money, so they took a beloved movie, slapped a more modern look to it, threw in some celebrity voice actors, and called it a day. Did the original Lion King want to make money? Of course it did. That's kind of how our society works. But you cannot convince me that was their number one priority. You don't make a masterpiece unless you wholly intend to make a masterpiece. You have to say something that hasn't been said. A good way to check if something has a good purpose is to ask what it would be like if it didn't even exist. If The Lion King 2019 didn't exist, the only difference it would make would be in Disney's financials. If The Lion King 1994 did not exist, millions of people would be deprived of art. We would need a new way to communicate to young audiences the complex cycle of life, death, rebirth, and harmony. The entire animated movie industry would not be the same. Now let's talk about the current state of affairs. A lot of people are taking note of the current abysmal state of Hollywood. So many movies as of late are just sequels or remakes of successful predecessors. This is because studios are more risk-averse than ever. Check out this clip of Matt Damon breaking it down.
I would have to make $100 million before I got into profit. And the idea of making $100 million on a story about like this love affair between these two people, yeah, I love everyone in the movie, but that's suddenly a massive gamble.
Notice how he calls them massive gambles? That's the problem. Movies are seen as investments. The number one priority for so many movies these days, the most common purpose is to make money. There are plenty of great ideas being made, but the fear of losing money prevents them from ever being shown to the world. What if studios were less risk averse? What if money wasn't the number one priority? What if they were willing to take a leap of faith? Just 8 months prior to The Lion King 2019's release, Sony released Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse. Just like with The Lion King, audiences knew the story of Spider-Man. Both of these movies leveraged brand awareness of pre-existing successful stories. Yet, one of these movies flopped and the other was a massive success. So what did Spider-Verse do that The Lion King failed to? It prioritized a unique purpose. It said something that hadn't been said. In 2002, Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker taught us that with great power comes great responsibility. In 2012, Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker taught us that with great power comes great responsibility. In 2017, Tom Holland's Peter Parker taught us that with great power comes great responsibility. Okay, and then only a year later you want to release a new Spider-Man? Well, come 2018, Shameik Moore's Miles Morales taught us about facing external pressures and finding your own identity. A completely new perspective on a classic and beloved story. The purpose of Spider-Verse is to say that, despite what other people's expectations are of you, you can do your own thing, carve your own path, and form your own identity. What's so mind-bending about it is that the movie does just that. In a world of so many Spider-Man movies, the audience built up expectations for what Spider-Verse should be. And instead of adhering to the expectations, they took a completely unique path. It's a story about Miles Morales. Let's talk about how they use the different dimensions of art that I talked about earlier. The visuals, stunning, comic-inspired shots that are straight out of something Miles would read. The music, catchy, trendy hip-hop like Post Malone and Juice WRLD. Exactly the type of music we would expect Miles to listen to. The interpersonal, a classic superhero origin story and iconic characters all with their own unique twist. Peter B. Parker is a washed-up bum. Gwen isn't just a love interest, she's a fully fleshed out character as Spider-Woman who has her own unique backstory too. Every element is aligned with the purpose of identity. Certified banger. Then, just 5 years later, they came out with a sequel. Great, we're ruining Spider-Verse now too, just to grab some quick cash? Wrong. They did it again. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is not some lousy sequel that nobody asked for. Instead, it takes everything that Into the Spider-Verse did so well and doubles down. It zooms everything out, and suddenly the audience realizes there's a much bigger story being told. Into the Spider-Verse was just the first chapter of the story of Miles Morales. The purpose remains the exploration of self-identity, and Across the Spider-Verse wants to make sure everyone knows. A viewer could watch Into the Spider-Verse and enjoy it without ever processing the overarching theme of self-identity. But with the context of Across the Spider-Verse, it suddenly becomes explicitly clear what they're trying to explore, what they're trying to say. I fully expect the third installment to solidify this trilogy as one of the greatest stories of this generation, and it's all thanks to the concise purpose. There's an unfortunate elephant in the room right now, or I guess I should say lion. Despite all the times I called it a flop, The Lion King 2019 made $1.6 billion and profited $600 million. Their goal, their purpose, was to make money, and they made money. They've even got a spin-off about Mufasa slated to come out this December, and I'm sure that's going to make a boatload of money too. Yet I still think they're failing in a way that's not immediately obvious. Fans are gradually catching on to the disastrous state of movies, television, and streaming. Disney sacrificing long-term brand image for short-term profits. This is not sustainable, and I'm certain it's going to catch up to them. Maybe I'm optimistic, maybe I'm just naive, but I'm a believer that doing things with purpose will always pan out in the long term. And money just cannot be a purpose. We're seeing human culture be pried from our hands in the name of short-term profits, not just with Disney, but everywhere. If you've taken anything away from this video, I hope it's to do things with intention. Of course, I ask that you like and subscribe, but that's not what I'm making this channel for. I'm trying to run this channel with intention, posting every video with the purpose of making quality, thought-provoking content. Hopefully, I can serve as an example that doing things with intention is the foolproof way to succeed. If you enjoyed this video, then I think I've done just that. Thanks for watching.